Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Miranda and I am the Enchantress of Avalon. So for today's spooky season video and a very macabre Monday, I've decided I am going to read for you aloud The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Because what is a better way to celebrate spooky season than listening to Poe's most beloved work? So I might, if I have time at the end of the video, do a little interpretation, but for right now, I'm just going to get right into reciting The Raven. The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books, surcease with sorrow for the lost Lenore. For the rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken sad uncertain rustling of each purple curtain filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. Sir, said I, or Madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is, I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened opened wide the door. Darkness there and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token. And the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back, "Lenore." Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, something louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obstinance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore, though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering this from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon a sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on that placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, "Other friends have flown before, on the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before." Then the bird said, "Nevermore." Startled at the stillness spoken by reply so aptly spoken, the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store. Caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaging and guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight glowing o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite, and repent from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind repent, and forget this lost Lenore, quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, of bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by Homer haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore, quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, bird or devil, by the heaven that bends above us, by the God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if the distant Aden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angel's name's Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angel's name's Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. By that word, our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest of the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take that thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door, quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still sitting and still is sitting, on the pallid bust of Pallas above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. So that was my recitation of the Raven. I did mess up a little bit, but I'm just going to post this video as is because there is such beauty in this poem, and I want people to know that even someone like me who has read Poe thousands of times will slip up sometimes while reading. Now, this is such a deep and heart-rending poem. We have a narrator who is mourning the loss of his beloved. It's unclear whether she was his lover, his girlfriend, his wife, his fiance, but she is the person he meant to spend the rest of his life with, and she died. And in his mourning, an omen comes in the form of a raven. And we all know how much I adore crows and ravens, and they are often omens from the other world, are they not? So he starts asking after Lenore, begging for information about her. And the raven can't give him any information other than saying that one singular word of nevermore, nevermore. And he's slowly dipping deeper and deeper into his grief and into his madness and getting agitated. And I've always felt this poem could also be read as someone going through the 5 stages of grief. And you could see him going in and out of the stages as he's bargaining and depression and anger in turn and riling through these before kind of coming to a cold and weary acceptance, which is the final stage. It's such a brilliant poem. So beautifully done. I love all of the different references within the poem. You could pick them apart. You can pick apart how he was referencing everything from mythology to folklore to these omens of birds to, of course, there's the biblical lore talking about the angels, and he's specifically talking about angels, about seraphim. He mentions it over and over again, that this is who he's talking to. And it's interesting because he's not entreating a saint, he's not entreating God, he's entreating specifically angels on his behalf because he believes Lenore has become an angel. And she was this angel, this bright light in his life that is now dimmed and gone. And Poe himself had lost so many women he loved throughout his life. He lost pretty much every woman that ever really meant anything to him in turn. And it's truly mind-boggling that he was able to turn this grief and loss into some of the most beautiful works we've ever had. And that's why he focuses so much on what I call the dead beauties of Edgar Allan Poe. These beautiful lost maidens, these lost women who he loved so dearly. And the poem honestly chokes me up a lot of times when I read it. It is so visceral and so real and honest emotionally so, and I never tire of getting a chance to read this beautiful poem, especially during spooky season. So I want to thank you most sincerely for listening to my recitation of The Raven. I hope you did enjoy it and enjoyed my little analysis. And if you have liked this, please do like, comment, subscribe, and check out my blog, whetroseofavalon.life, for more content. And as always, I'll post some blog posts down in the description box below for your ease. And one of them will be my full breakdown and analysis of The Raven that I did last year for my Gothic Romance Week on my blog. So I do hope you'll have a very magical, macabre Monday, everyone. Bye now.